Good morning to everyone to join also this session on the data improvement for sustainable GI. This section will open a focus on one of the main problems that we had during our research activity, and that was the problem to find and to use then the data for assess the sustainability of a GI scheme. So today we have the pleasure to have with us for guest Laura Guglia from DG Agri, from the FADN unit, Luca Cesaro from CREA Bioeconomy and Policy of Italy, and from Massimo Vittori from Origin GI. They actually are four experts in this field, in the data collection and in the use of these of the data that can be sensible for assess sustainability. Why we have that what we call a data problem. We have a data problem, science that we define several type of indicator, and we have to assess the data or find the data that represent a given level of sustainability, a given determinant of the sustainability, each a different level. And this data should come from the farm to the coordinator or the manager of the data that will assess then the sustainable indicator. So there is a practical problem related to use primary data, secondary data. There is a problem of confidentiality of this data, and there is a problem of representativeness of this data. But there is another problem that what we want to assess, and then we can work at the level of the chain or a level of a territory. So should represent both the chain and the territory of the food quality scheme. Considering all these experience and the work done so far during the Strength2Food project, we wanted to ask to our guest two point each. Each key point are taken up from the Strength2Food result on GIs, that of course their side, and a quantitative analysis quite limited by data availability, as we said. And so what can be done for improve and solve this problem? Thank you very much. And then I let the floor to our guest. Okay, sorry. Okay, okay. And I will start from Sabine, just to give a note. And Massimo has some problem with his microphone at the moment, but we hope that he will join. If you have question, please write in the left of your screen, and then your question will be taken consideration from us. Please, Sabine, then Luca, and then Laura.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for inviting me to participate in this event. I represent the INAO, which is in charge of the implementation of the French policy on the official signs of quality and origin of agricultural and agri-food products. This policy is based on close collaboration between the Institute and the Association of Producers, which are more than 500 in France, including 267 in the agri-food sector. I would like to share with you the key point we are taking away from the Strength2Food project and results. First of all, Strength2Food identified challenges and opportunities, and it stimulates knowledge sharing and application and promotes a culture of evidence-informed decision based on data. This issue us is that research has involved, and from being a producer of descriptive data to an active participant in organizational decision making. In this sense, this study on GI sustainability provides strategic information for GI groups wishing to plan a sustainability assessment. Through the case studies, Strength2Food offers a kind of data management, information creation, and knowledge transfer in the context of institutional research in the form of an assessment tool for estimating the level of sustainability of a GI. The second point identified is that this approach can help us provide commodity chains with a useful methodological tool to identify sustainability priorities. That is to say, where they have to focus efforts to better target the needs of the organization in its context. The GI assessment process can help identify the level of maturity already achieved, the opportunities for future development, and the obstacles to be addressed. It can help practitioners to identify the most effective changes in organizational or technical practices that may be required to advance their development plans. GI groups could make it a requirement to periodically use this evaluation process as a kind of quality assurance. It could be used to support the reflection of those in charge of developing the specification, to work on continuous improvement, and even to transform practices. It could be used by higher level decision makers as a tool to guide policy, public policy. And finally, to enable GI groups to adopt the approach developed by Strength2Food, the project deserves to be better known and its results better shared. An important step would be to have the documents and reports available into French, for example. In particular, the INAO had just launched a study that will integrate the approach developed by Strength2Food with a view to analyzing the various alternative strategies to encourage quality improvement measurement. To conclude, its continuation or extension could be useful in terms of change of management, support methods that would be adapted to the sociology of GI groups. So concerning the availability of database, I leave the floor to my colleague Olivier Catrou, who is in charge of economic mission at the INAO. Thank you.
So I imagine I take the floor. Thank you for inviting me to share this experience as on economical data of geographical indication and organic food. In France, we use many kind of course of information to describe economic value of GIs. And at the NIO, we have two main different sources of information. Quantitative global data about GIs coming from an annual survey with producers association, and also, and that's very important, individual data collected by inspection bodies or authorized operators. That's a very important tool to use this control information. So we have developed with many public partners, including ILRAE, an economic observatory that has to shed light on different questions about sustainability of food quality schemes. This observatory is very important because it's a place for gathering data and also share experiences and methods with partners. I would lay the stress on the fact that when it comes to GIs, the first difficulties come from the nature of GI itself. GIs are very heterogeneous. They have different specifications. And besides, one holding can produce many different GIs and other food quality schemes. and at the same time non-GI products. So the main bias for the estimation of the indicators is to evaluate the ratio for the farms, whether they are engaged or not in GI production. That's the first difficulty. The second difficulty with our experience is that we have different sources of information and heterogeneous ones that are really difficult to match because surveys are held by operators and data are collected by these operators and these public bodies in order to fulfill different goals. So the existing data we used correspond to different geographical and time frames. And so there is a really big difficulty to operate interoperability within this data to constitute both reliable and extensive data. One main limitation is the geographical scale of the surveys, such as FADN, whose sampling plan does not include the criteria of GI so far, of course. So as you guess, it's very difficult to consolidate data and to have enough quantitative data. So let me suggest 4 different ideas. The first suggestion would be to better mobilize structural data coming from the farm structural survey. It would help to analyze the importance of GI within each agricultural holding. We could ensure that the FADN sample is taken from this survey, and probably another suggestion would be to increase quantitative data about geographical indication and other food quality scheme in this survey. The second suggestion, when we have matched FADN and FSS, would be to increase on a punctual basis the focus on GI. I do not believe that we can do it all the time, but for certain years, especially when we have a farm structure survey, we could increase the availability of data by increasing the number of samples. I think, and we believe that it's very important to place also producers association in the part of the collection of information. It addresses, of course, producers association and interbranch, which are known to collect a lot of data that could be of great interest in order to evaluate sustainability. The fourth suggestion would be to improve the coordination of all the surveys, FADN, FSS, and the data collected on a national level by competent authorities in charge of FQS. So to conclude, we do need more data available to analyze the sustainability of GIs, especially accounting data. But most of the data is already existing. I think that our challenge is to successfully assemble and exploit the existing data, probably increase in some specific areas the existing surveys, and also optimize the circuit of data flows between public institutes, public surveys, and professional ones.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Luca, I know that Italian FADN is working already on this direction, so if you can give us some your feeling about that.
Yes, thank you, Filippo. It's quite difficult in 5 minutes to talk about integration of data set and the needs of data for the analysis of geographic indication and organic production. The first thing I want to tell you is that what we learned by Strength2Food project is that FADN is not always completely useful to analyze these kind of issues. Some of the information are missing. There's a process of integrating farm accountancy data network, but for sure Laura will tell us about that, because it's a European process of, let's say, enlarging the farm accountancy data network to environmental indicators and social indicators. The situation now is that every country in the EU, every member state, adopt the standard for FADN that is stated by the Commission, but in some way, some countries, they add some information. This is the situation of Italy. Just to give you an idea, the total number of variables that we collect in FADN is 2,050 variables instead of 1,000 for the European FADN. We collect the cost of production per production process, so we know exactly what is the cost of production of each individual production process. We collect a higher number of environmental information, and we also collect a set of information on the adopted certification system that in some cases are missing in the European standard. I prepare a table. I took this table from a publication of a colleague, just to show you what is the situation of, let's say, environmental variables in FADN in the European standard and the Italian FADN. The first line, if you see it, is georeferencing farms. This is very important. I mean, if we are able to georeference the farm, we know where the farm is. But another important point should be, if you want to integrate the data sets, should be to georeference also the parcels. So one thing is to know where the farm is located, and another thing is to know where the parcels that are cultivated are located. The amount of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium is collected by European FADN, but this information in the Italian FADN is collected at the level of the single crop. And the last point, I dropped these two lines. The quality certification system are actually collected in Italy, so we know exactly for each production process, either it is PDO, PGI, or organic for each product, while this information is normally available only at the level of the farm. This allowed us to make some, let's say, processing and elaboration. These are published in one report of Strength2Food. We compare organic and non-organic production for wine, and also certified and not certified production for wine. Again, results are quite similar with other results of the project, meaning that value added for organic farm is usually less than value added for conventional farms, while in the case of geographic indication certification, we have a value added that is higher for certificated farms. One problem is the size of the sample. This has been already mentioned. When we select a subsample of, let's say, organic farms or certified farms, the size of the sample could be not statistically representative. This is normal because FADN is designed on the basis of other objective variables. So we cannot pretend that the sample is statistically representative when we go to analyze a figure that is so particular, let's say. The way we try to solve this problem is to build up some, we call them satellite sample, meaning that we are collecting additional FADN farms on the basis of the evaluation question that we want to answer. That means that if we want to know something about organic, we collect additional organic farms, so we can increase the size of the sample.
You have 1 minute.
Yeah. I'm almost finished. Another important point that has been already underlined is the integration of different data sets. We have a lot of information in a lot of different data sets. Just to give you an example, the data sets of administrative, the administrative data set of the paying agencies, the statistical data, let's say the fiscal data that in our country are not available, but in other countries they can be accessed. So if we are able to integrate all these data sets, we will get a quantity of information that is now not available and give us the possibility of going deeper in the analysis. There are some problems. Some actors are still reluctant to share the data, but I think this is the right way to increase the effectiveness of the analysis with this kind of data. The last point I want to underline is, yes, FADN is an important data set, but is not the only available information. So we cannot answer to FADN. We cannot ask to FADN to answer all the evaluation questions that we have. Thank you very much. Sorry.
Okay, Luca, thank you very much. So now we give the floor to Lau, that she worked in the farm unit, and so thank you, Laura.
Yeah. Hello, everyone, and thanks for inviting me. I have to say that I am from the same administration in Rome, in Italy, as Luca, but I am since 2015 detached in the European Commission, DG Agri, in the unit who is managing the FADN, so responsible and managing for the collection of data at European level. And me in particular, I'm working on the agro-environmental indicators. So it's very interesting to see the result of this project. So first of all, I have to say that I have to thank this project and the organizers, because my unit is receiving a lot of requests for accessing the data. So we analyze the request and we give the access, the permission. We deliver the data for all member states, but very few requesters at the end of the project, and so at the end of the use of the data, they organize some events like this to let us know the result of the use of the data. So this is very much appreciated from the Commission for this project. On the main points that we find very interesting from this project is that there is now some evidence on the link between the quality project, the quality product, and the sustainability in the 3 dimensions. So this is really one important issue, because we don't have much evidence on this link. And I can tell you that this morning, more or less in parallel of this event, some preliminary results on an evaluation that has been carried out by the Commission, DG Agri, has been presented, and I can give you some insight on this evaluation. You have to know that DG Agri is launching from time to time evaluations on some main policy issues that are relevant, and this evaluation wanted to see how much the European policies on geographical indications and similar products have reached the objectives and also can fit for the future. And the main result from this evaluation, I have to say that they are in line with the result of this project. The policies on the geographical indication have been evaluated and assessed in terms of efficacy, efficiency, and coherence with the other policy. And the policies seem to be in some way in a good position in terms of efficacy and effectiveness. But there is the risk that those quality schemes might not be contained in the future, so might not be so strong in the future, because there is a high diversity in member states in managing those schemes. But one further result of this evaluation was about some concerns about the sustainability of the quality schemes, because of course they are not included in the main purpose of the schemes. And so this project, the Strength2Food project, can really bring some evidence on this, and help in evaluating how the future policy can be reinforced in this exception. Filippo, if I have some more minutes on the use of the no, okay, I would like to link also these problems that are coming from your project and from this evaluation to the process that Luca has already mentioned about the FADN, because you know that from the farm to fork strategy and the other strategies, there is this process of converting the FADN in FSDN. This is a very important process, because the main objectives are to include more and more social and environmental variables in the collection of data. That we have to remind that is focused mainly on economic variables, so on the accountancy of farm. This process has been launched, and there will be a legislative framework on which the Commission is working. But we are also launching some consultation with member states to understand which variables and which are the main needs that member states see as relevant, as urgent to be included in the new FSDN. The aim is not to have new tools to monitor the policy, but to have really more evidence, more data, to help farmers themselves for their evaluations in how to manage and how to control their performance, but also to receive more help from the advisory system, and also for the policy perspective to be able to have more data to do some reflections and some analysis. And FSDN, so it's really an important opportunity, and this project is also feeding our thoughts, our reflection, because we can try to convince member states to put more efforts in the collection of data, also on geographical indications. I know that the sample that you could use, it's very limited, but we have to say that FADN is on a voluntary basis. So farmers are joining the collection not because they are obliged, but because they want. And when we do some consultation with them, we try to see how much further we can go to enlarge this collection of data. And on geographical indication, I have to say that some years ago, in 2010, we asked them to express their comments on the feasibility of this collection, and some member states were available to increase this collection of data, but not all member states. And I have to say that France and Germany in particular, they evaluated as impossible to collect data on this topic. Of course, I mean, the Commission tried to force and to go step by step to convince member state in enlarging the collection of data. You can see that for MPK, now it was in a first moment a voluntary process, but then it has become compulsory. So I think that something can be done to work together with member states to reinforce, as suggested also from the colleague Olivier, the collection of data also on geographical indication and quality products.
Thank you very much. I am very sorry for Massimo that couldn't speak. He make all the effort to do this, but for some technical problem or for the karma, I don't know what, but I think for the technical problem, he couldn't. So thank you very much. I think that was very, very interesting. We learn that there is the many possibility to improve the quality of information for a GI, and I hope that will be done, but also that will be used for the manager of the GI system, but also for the consumer to know the value added that GI has for the farmer and for rural development in total. So thank you very much, and I hope to meet all of you soon in person. Thank you.